Final countdown to Payday Super is on. It has been a long time coming, so it's never too late to make sure you or your employer are ready. Janine Thompson from McGrathNicol joining me now. Great to see you, Janine.
Hi.
Let's just take a step back and remind everyone what is happening.
Sure. So the big change is from 1st of July. Rather than quarterly super contributions, employers will now have to make those contributions within 7 days of payday. So that's a really big change. There has also been some extension and expansion of the definition of employee and the entitlements that super's payable on.
So what's the new payments platform?
So the new payments platform, it has been around for a while. It's actually been around since 2018. It's a data-rich, real-time payment infrastructure within Australia. It's the structure that has your Pay ID, for example, that's part of MPP. But importantly, how that interacts with Payday Super is it's going to help into that instantaneous super contributions, getting money quickly into an employee's fund so it can start acting for you.
We know that unpaid super is, a big drag on people's retirement outcomes. So I guess this is why the government's introducing Payday Super. Tell us about the benefits for employees and employers.
Yes, so for employees, there are two main benefits. So as you've said, unpaid super is actually a huge issue, whether that's unpaid because of errors, because of delays, or a deliberate action. And so because of this new regime of having to pay more frequently, the moment there is a non-payment, that's going to hit the regulators' radar a lot sooner, and so they're going to be able to chase that up. The second, I guess, overarching benefit is that really enhanced retirement outcomes. So the more often and the sooner that money is in your super account, the sooner it's earning you interest and it's growing for you for your retirement.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think businesses are ready for this?
That's a good question. Yes, they are. There's still a little bit of preparation for everybody to do, and there's we're certainly helping a lot of clients get ready now in terms of reviewing pay codes, making test payments, making sure all your processes are in place. But there's definitely going to be a few sectors I think that this is going to be more difficult for than others. So.
What do you think businesses should be doing, given there's only 5 weeks really?
Yeah. So as I said, I think those key steps really are making test payments, going through that process, making sure that those payments are getting into an employee's account when you need it to, and so that you're not going to incur any penalties. Doing a review of all your pay codes, again, this is something that we do a lot of because it's not straightforward. Super isn't payable on everything. And so just going through and making sure that you're doing all of that properly and that you've got all of your ducks in a row. And then finally, probably just making sure all of your processes are in place because there's an onus on you, whether it's current employees and new employees on the onboarding process, to get the information from them that you need.
Yeah, an interesting point because it's not paid on everything. So what does this mean in terms of potential impacts to bonuses or share payments?
Yeah, so things like bonuses and commissions. So it used to be for commissions that it wasn't payable on all commissions, whereas now if you earn commissions on work done outside your ordinary hours, it is now superable. The big impact for those though who do earn a bonus is that previously there's a quarterly cap on superannuation, and that's set at 25% of the annual cap. So if you receive a one-off bonus payment in a year, it might not all be superable because it will take you over that quarter's cap, even though on an annual basis you might not have reached your limit. That's going to be scrapped. It's now going to be looked at on an annual basis. So chances are that more of your bonus will be superable now, which is a great thing, again, to enhance retirement outcomes.
So what sectors do you see as most exposed to these new changes?
There's probably a couple. So anyone that has tight margins, volatile revenue, seasonal revenue, so hospitality, retail, for example, because they're going to need to find that cash flow to meet these consistent super obligations each week, fortnight, month, depending on their pay cycle. The other one would be things like construction, even professional services, anyone who's using a lot of contractors. Because under Payday Super, the definition of who is an employee and therefore who you pay super on or super to is also slightly extending. So again, there's a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that you are getting that right and you're paying the right people.
So I guess just give us some of the top things, given that there is only 5 weeks to go.
Yep.
You would hope that businesses have put their plans in place long before this,
Yep.
but what do they need to do to prepare?
I think this is sort of about harking onto the same thing, but I think they really do need to be making sure all of their processes are in place. And I guess I can't stress enough, make some test payments, because that's the biggest test, is to make sure that everything is in place, because there is a very tight window. So that 7 days that applies, that is 7 days, within 7 days it has to be in the super account. So even at the super funds end, it has to be allocated and put into the account fund. So it's a pretty tight window. So to be honest, I don't think there's any getting around making test payments.
So what are the penalties if they're not paid? Because I mean, I feel at the moment, if late paid super, it's kind of a slap on the wrist.
It is. There are existing penalties, penalty structure at the moment, but that does get lifted under Payday Super. It is a little bit more stringent, and I think more importantly though, because of how more visible any delays or unpaid super will be, you're going to see an increase in that, that penalty regime, just because it's going to come to the surface a lot more. So interestingly, some of that interest has always been potentially payable on unpaid super, that's now going to be compounding as well. So that it could be pretty hefty penalties if you get it wrong.